Hello, welcome to our brand new podcast. I'd love to tell you our title, but we're still working on that. I would say our brain trust is putting ideas together, but our brain trust may be a little diminished. But don't worry, the content will be good enough that we'll figure out a way to couch it the right way. In the meantime, I'm Larry Feldman. I'm sure many of you know me. It's Career Changers USA, training and recruiting. And I've had the tremendous fortune of tripping over three really good guys that are committed to doing things right and making the industry better. So let me have the privilege of introducing you to Mike Larkin, not only one of the best AI tech guys you'll ever find, but just a good all-around guy. Gary Silman, if not only the best AI guy, the best F&I guy you'll find in the whole state of Connecticut, but maybe in the whole country. And we've just had the pleasure of dialing in with Ken Luna. Many of you have seen his post, The Old Man in the Sea. And luckily, we're all old enough to know who Hemingway is, so we can even tie in with that and make some sense. You'll confuse a lot of 18-year-olds there, and they can't spell anyway, so we're going with that.
They're not my target.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mr. Larkin or Mr. Silman, why don't you take it from there, and I'll stand here and look dumb, which I seem to be pretty good at. I've made it a cottage.
I'm gonna introduce Gary. Gary is one of my friends from before COVID. We found out that we were from the same hometown or that area. He's from a town.
No, wait a minute. That's a tremendous coincidence because Ken and I were from the same penitentiary. Isn't that great, Ken? We've got a fraternity here. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I didn't know that. but Gary's living in my hometown, so that's where we met initially, and then collaborations from then on, and we've gotten to this point where we're in the golden age of digital marketing. So with that, I'm going to have Gary Silman take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Larry, Ken, it's been 5 years that I think I've been parked in the basement in my man cave, and I couldn't be happier to come out of the cave and showcase a podcast with the guys we have right here. Long time in the industry, been around for we go back to the 80s. That's why I always love when Ken's around, because I know we can talk about the computer systems that we had to work on and the green screens, and so the pioneer is definitely, so my admiration for Ken goes twofold, because in the 80s is when I got in, and some of the software systems that we had to use to bill out deals were horrendous. So, now we've got a cell phone. We can do the whole deal on a cell phone. So it's really cool.
Yeah, but so tell the truth, Gary, you miss your sundial and your abacus, don't you?
We used to scratch pad all of that, boy. The shekels and the rubles.
But remember, when I got Ken Luna and Gary Silman over my shoulder, if the computer breaks down, we still know how to do a lease by hand.
Exactly. With one of those amortization schedules for credit, life, and disability, you had to tack it on.
And that was used this year. Ask a CDK customer.
Yes, there you go. There you go. So
did CDK eventually add the phone number to the suicide prevention hotline? Because I think a lot of dealers found that to be a need.
Well, I'm very close to CDK and those guys, and they needed that as well.
Yeah, so we're friends with Troy Glenn. Great guy.
Yeah. CDK folks are really good people. So
we've seen the ups and downs. So it's great to be here January 10th, and we got a lot of stuff going on this year. We plan on bringing on a lot of our friends who have built wonderful programs and all services to help our dealers grow. And I look forward to this year. We're solution providers. We're here to help. We have all the tools to make your lives easier, which in turn, we hope that you can make your customers happier and let your employees do business easier. So let's listen to what Ken has to say, because I think his program is one of those programs that every dealer needs their own Gus. So now you'll know what I'm talking about.
just before Ken starts, I just want to add one thing. We'd certainly love to use this as a network to use our services, but we're not lawyers or taxi cab drivers with a meter running. If anybody has any questions about any of the services we provide or what we do, man, a phone call is always welcome. We're not looking to, like I said, we ain't looking to charge you by the minute, the week, or the hour, because we're pretty confident in the fact that if you see what we bring to the table, you're going to want to work with us anyway. Agree, Ken?
Absolutely.
Hey, wonderful. Take it away, Ken.
Well, before I get started, I want to thank all you guys for bringing me in to the Four Horsemen, or whatever you want to call it, as we launch the inaugural launch of this. But I actually go back to the 70s. So that's just letting you guys know. I go back to converting dealerships off of hand posting systems onto the early DMS systems. That's how far back I got. So
that's when I was getting in trouble.
Yeah,
so,
well, I got in trouble too. I mean, that didn't stop me. So, just because you were doing that didn't mean you didn't get in trouble. A lot of us got in trouble. Anyway,
Hey, Ken,
anyway.
I have a magnet on my refrigerator. Let me shut my phone off. From Mario Andretti, it says, if you're in full control, you're not going fast enough.
There we go. Well, that's my motto. No question. I mean, I'm like my entire career almost, my early career was DMS systems, but, the last 20, 30 years, I've been like a moth attracted to the light of new, great ideas, and done a lot of that. And certainly Gather is one of those. It's actually was founded by a fellow that I've known a long, long time, a fellow by the name of Jim Maxfield, who started Gather up. And his premise was he was with some companies that tried to sell insurance in the dealership, found out that was backwards of what needed to be done. And what really needed to be done was trying to take insurance completely out of the equation if possible, and trying to make the deal where conversations about payments with insurance just don't come up. You want to try to have that happen afterwards. However, I bring the expertise of the identity verification into this, but have definitely picked up on the insurance piece over the last year. And we've got a lot of new products that we've come out with over the last few months. It's like it's like you start out with one premise, and then you kind of go, oh, we need to do this, and then, oh, we need to do this. And that's what we've been doing here at Gather, and have come up with some really fantastic solutions. So what I want to do...
Would you elaborate on that? Because Gary knows you tremendously well. Mike and I are starting to figure you out, but there's a lot of people that know of you but may not know exactly what Gather does. Would you mind elaborating?
Well, I'm to ask, because that's exactly where I'm going with my... that's like, okay, I'm going to throw the softball up now, and you can hit it. So that's what I'm going to do.
Hey, we've done this before, so
what a coincidence!
There's no magic behind this podcast.
For anybody that doesn't realize, when we started the podcast, Michael made the mistake of asking Ken if he's familiar with podcasts. And I had to explain to Michael that Ken does not exist as a human being. He's strictly virtual.
I am actually an artist. I mean, my wife tells me I'm an AI all the time. So, so absolutely. I mean, so I'm very familiar with AI. So what I'm going to do now is, Mike was talking about this. You know how to do
Can you share your screen?
I'm going to share it, and then basically what we're going to do now is talk a little bit about Gather. So this is an overview of what Gather does. We are primarily an identity and insurance verification and transfer solution. So we'll dive into that and what that means. But what I like to start out with is, just right out of the chute, how does this work? What is it we got to do to verify insurance, to verify identity? And, what we've built here is something that is just extremely easy to do for the consumer, extremely easy for the dealership to use. And basically, as you can see with the screen, you guys can't see the screen, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I've gotten into these presentations before, 5 minutes in, they go, are you supposed to be showing us something right now? So, I don't want that to happen. But the first thing we do is either on a phone or a kiosk, and I'll explain in a second why we have the kiosk. But the phones work well to get authorization from the individual that they're permitting us to basically find out that they are who they say they are, and also to verify that they've got current insurance. And if we start this at the test drive, then we're going to ask for the email and phone number. However, if we're starting this process, if we've already got the deal started, then we integrate with all the major DMS systems, and we don't have to ask this question because we've already married the deal to the process. So that's a key here. That's a very unique thing that we do. We do a lot of unique things with Gather, but that's one of the things that is fundamental to what we do are the DMS and the CRM integrations that we have. So then what we do is we ask the consumer on their phone or on the kiosk to take a picture of their driver's license, to take a picture of their insurance card, and if we're doing identity verification, because you can actually just do insurance verification without the identity, it's up to the dealership, so which ones, or if they want to do both. But if they are doing identity, then we ask them to do a selfie. And the selfie is a biometric check of the comparison of the selfie itself against the picture on the driver's license. And then, of course, we do like 100 other data checks and background checks on the individual. Now, the reason we went to recommending, especially if, with the identity verification on the kiosk, is that some people have some really old phones. And some of these old phones don't work real well with the biometric piece of this. So we know that with the kiosks that they work 100% of the time when they come in. They work about, 90% of the time without it, but we want to make sure that we've got this complete. And another thing that we're doing with this is we're taking documents out of the employee's hands where the employee never touches a driver's license, they never touch the insurance card. The consumer is doing all of this, on their own device, if you will. So the last thing you want is a driver's license or even a copy of a driver's license or even a copy of a driver's license inside of a folder laying out on a desk, and a state auditor comes by and goes, bingo, there's $50,000 fine for you. So what we're doing is, from a compliance standpoint, we're removing that, if you will, from the equation and taking these documents out of the individual's hands. And then, and I actually did a LinkedIn post today on this, is that, dealers universally right now are taking at face value the insurance card when people are coming in. Just to say, no, well, I got their insurance card from them. It said that, it doesn't expire until X date. And here, this is an actual example of one that had an expiration date that was way later than when the policy actually expired. In this case, we're presuming they stopped making their payments. But what people don't realize is that in most states, not all, but in most states, there is a state law that basically says you must verify insurance before you title the car. So in essence, if you're not really nailing down and verifying, yes, this is a valid insurance card, then you are basically breaking state law. Now, it's another matter whether the states are enforcing it or not. But that being said, if you're a big enough organization and you're liable enough, this is something that you really need to think about when you're going through your front end process in validating insurance. So, and on the identity side, the proof's in the pudding as far as what I say. We have a dealer group back in May that was one of our early users with our system and actually caught a gal. But she was actually she's basically a mule out of an organized theft ring in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. that actually, and this is the Autobahn group, they're a 4 dealership group in Fort Worth, and she had gone to the Audi store, had a great credit score, very professional looking, went in there to buy a car, and she flunked our process, for various reasons. And then she had someplace better to be when they told her, hey, we're going to have to dig a little bit deeper because you failed the gather process. So then what she did was she went online and went to the BMW store and tried to do everything online instead of going to the dealership. Well, the system picked up with that this was the same gal that had tried to hit the Audi store, except this time they were waiting on her with the police ready to, once she signed the documents, because she really hadn't broken a law until she actually signed the documents, then the police basically arrested her on the spot. And actually she helped break up one of the theft rings there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with her cooperation, if you will, after she was caught here. So we were fortunate enough to be written up in Automotive News with this particular situation. So, there are a lot of systems out there that say that they work and say that they protect, but, our premise is you put your money where your mouth is. So basically, what we've done is we've instituted a lot of guarantees that back our process up. The big one is the $1 million guarantee. Technically speaking, it's a $300,000 per incident guarantee. But if someone goes through our system and they wind up being a fraudster, a synthetic fraudster, if you will, if you find that out 2 to 3 months later after that car's in a container on its way to the Middle East somewhere, basically what we're saying is that if that happens, we're going to pay for the car. So if you're looking at, if you will, identity verification systems, just ask them, do they back it up with a guarantee? We guarantee the results of what we do. Now, we do a few other things. We have an accident claim coverage where if they do pass our system and you want to let them drive off with the car because we know they've got insurance, we know they are who they say they are, then for a small fee, you can let them ride. It's 8 o'clock at night and you want to let them go, then we'll guarantee that anything that happens to that car until it gets titled, at least within a week's period, that we're going to protect the dealer. And then we've also teamed up with a company called Aura. They're basically a competitor of LifeLock, and they would not like me saying that because they do a lot more than what LifeLock does. And we also provide 30-day identity theft protection for the consumer, at no charge, courtesy of, in essence, in their mind, it's courtesy of the dealership. And the reason why this is important, a lot of consumers out there read about and know about the hack that happened. It was actually ransomware, but in their minds it was a hack that happened to dealerships that were under the CDK banner, but they don't know CDK from Adam. All they know is that dealerships got hacked and their identity might be in danger. So we've got a guarantee that backs up the process, you will, if they go through this process saying, hey, you're protected for 30 days at no charge from Aura. Aura is, if you've seen the advertisements on TV, it's Robert Downey Jr. is backing Aura. He's on their board, and he's actually doing a lot of their commercials. So we do identity verification. We do insurance verification. And the other thing that we do as an option as part of our process, we can actually work with the carrier and get the vehicle that is being purchased onto their policy and do all of that automatically for the dealership. So a lot of dealers don't totally understand what the process is behind that. F&I managers know full well what's behind it. And we automatically get with the carrier, get the policy updated, get the deal jacket updated within the CRM and DMS, and handle all of that for the dealership as well, so they don't have to mess with that themselves. F&I guys love that we're handling that. And one of our newer offerings that we've come out with is what we call on-demand insurance. And we've teamed up with the Allstate network to do this. And basically what this is a full-blown 6-month policy that is automated, that can be invoked at any time by the dealership. And the reason why this is so popular is that if you're sitting there and you've got $3,000 gross in the deal, and that individual's about to walk out the door because they don't have insurance, it's kind of nice to be able to push a button and say, hey, you got insurance. Now, there's some caveats to it. I mean, the individual has to pay $30 a day, and you go, oh my gosh, $30 a day, but that's temporary. That's just long enough to get the deal funded and get them moved over to a more reasonable policy, even though I had a dealership just the other day who signed up for this that said, I've got some people that would be perfectly happy paying $30 a day for their insurance. I was like stunned, but that is what this does. So what's really cool about it is that it is real time. I mean, it's basically all automated, and that happens from our integration with the DMS systems. It happens with the automation that Allstate has in place, and the fact that in essence it's a save a deal type of situation where you're just not wanting to risk that person walking out and saying, yeah, I'm going to get some insurance, I'll be back in touch with you, and of course you never see them again. So it's insurance that guarantees that you're going to get your high gross deal done. Then we also have reporting that comes behind this that we integrate with your CRM system that shows the status of anybody going through the process. Then I don't know if you can see this, and we actually have a little prettier version of this new report that we're coming out with that actually breaks down the insurance coverage on that individual, not just whether they have insurance or not, but what coverage they have, does it meet state minimums, and other little things like, hey, is the driver or is the person on the insurance card the same person and same address of the deal that we're writing up right here. So we do all of these checks, basically real time on the insurance side. And then we also have developed and built a system for loaners and rentals, basically for the service department. So one of the big pains, especially with Highline stores, is loaning out a car or renting a car out and having damage done to it. And what we've done here, or the car being stolen. So we invoke the same system in service to basically make sure this person is who they say they are, and also that they've got current valid insurance, and if that insurance does cover rental or loaner vehicles. So this is very popular with service departments that have loaner cars. And then, from a overall technology standpoint, we're working with a lot of companies. We have some major announcements coming out here very shortly concerning our APIs. So the insurance and identity piece of this, but primarily the insurance piece of this, is available for other industries, if you will, or other vendors in our industry that want to embed the insurance verification software and technology into what they're doing. So that is an overview of what Gather does. Hopefully that's helpful for everyone. Do you guys have any questions?
I do. In the process or the lead or the steps to the sale, by your system, you're kind of putting the identity first. And a lot of times, like we were saying about the licenses that are being left on tables, I have witnessed this. I was like, hey, this isn't supposed to be here. Who are you? I'm like, nobody, but this isn't. They kicked me out. Anyway, but the road to the sale is something different from your system that the sales guys and the F&I guys need to buy into. So how is that different than what's being taught by the without your system? And then can you take us through the steps to the sale where adding your system is different? Does that make sense?
It does. And of course, Larry could certainly chime in on this, considering he's a trainer, if you will, in front-end processes. But basically, right now in most dealerships, when you do a test drive with someone, it's one of the key questions we ask dealers, do you care whether the person is who they say they are or not? And do you care if they have insurance? And a lot of responses we get, well, we have garage liability that covers us, and we have, yeah, they may have that. But
Ken,
Yeah.
you are so right. Yeah, they have it, but what happens if the guy that isn't the guy runs into somebody and there's an injury or fatality? Dealers always have the deepest pockets. We're the liability magnet.
Exactly. So well said. So, we believe, and not all dealers that have our system do this, but we believe that you want to know as early as possible that that person is who they say they are and that they have insurance. I mean, it's pretty simple. Right now, what's being done is they're either doing nothing, they're just letting them ride the car, or they're taking that insurance card at face value. And of course, insurance cards are easily counterfeited. So if that's a fraudster, they've got a perfectly looking insurance card that they're going to be driving on. So that's at the beginning of the sale. And then certainly when you get into the end of the sales process, if you will, and you're in F&I, then it becomes critical that that person is who they say they are and that they have insurance. And once again, most dealers, they might be doing a license scan. They might be checking, the DMV. But guess what? These synthetic fraudsters, they steal that information. They attach a person's identity, if you will, with that driver's license they're presenting to you. So if you're running it through a scanner, even if you're connecting to the DMV, all that's doing is saying, yep, this is the same person that's, in your dealership. Synthetic fraudsters, they're going to steal that car.
To answer your question, Michael, the crooks are better at the paperwork than most of the salespeople. That's why the Gather program is so important.
Exactly. And, there are various numbers out there that automotive industry has lost, but the one we go by is TransUnion's. And basically they said that in the year 2023, don't have 2024 numbers yet, but in the year 2023, it was $2.2 billion in losses. That's a B, billion dollars in losses to the industry from specifically synthetic fraudsters hitting dealerships or any type of operation that's selling a car and then not being there 2 to 3 months later because they weren't real. They were basically a made-up identity. So that's so the overview I just gave kind of highlights all the varying solutions we bring to the table. They can be a la carte. They can be combined. We have a lot of dealers signing up just for the on-demand insurance right now because that's a big pain they have. It's not so much the Highline dealers. In the Highline dealers, most of the people they deal with do have insurance. So they're not as worried about that. They're certainly worried about the identity piece because they're prime targets. If you're going to stick your neck out to go to jail to steal a car, are you going to mess around with a $20,000 or $30,000 vehicle? No. You're going after Highline stuff, just like that gal that we were talking about in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. When she showed up to get that car, she was in her scrubs from the hospital because she wanted them to believe she was a surgeon. She was a surgeon at the hospital. She showed up in scrubs, so she was playing the role. And she had passed BMW credit. They already passed her. They approved her. Oh, yeah, this gal's good. And guess what? She was not good. And, I love that little picture that Automotive News used with the general manager smiling like wow, we were about to have our ass handed to us here, and we caught this gal. So,
Well,
so
but in Connecticut, we had a ring, and they were caught. And one of my stores, my used car stores, lost 2 vehicles, and they fired the F&I manager because he didn't do the verifications, and they beat him for 2 very high, expensive, and so it was in the news. They caught him eventually. So that's the same kind. So I shared that information, but absolutely.
you know, I don't know the story behind that one. I feel pretty bad for that F&I guy if he got hit with the synthetic fraudster, because they do not have the tools that, I mean, a really professional synthetic fraudster, they're going to win every time.
Because
they've got their ducks in a row. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're going to get their credit approved. They've got all the proper documentation. I mean, these are professionals. I mean,
Yeah.
they know exactly what they're doing. So,
and when you find a sloppy store, there's Swiss cheese, boy, there's holes, and they just get beat every time because they're not paying attention.
right.
That's not that common, Gary. The only stores you'll find that are sloppy are the ones that have vowels in their name.
You know, and they also and they're smart too. Typically, what they try to do is target during the busiest times. You know,
Yeah, so tax season.
Trying to get the metal moved, trying to get the deals done, and you know, I'm not going to worry too much. I'm going to, you know, I'm busy here. I don't want these people waiting, especially if they're buying a high end vehicle. I mean,
I'm selling cars, but boy, I'm selling it to the wrong person right now.
They're not. I mean,
Yeah.
in the typical dealership, it's just not thinking about that. Or, you know, a lot of things we get, well, we don't want to offend the people, you know. Well, in our experience with this is the exact opposite is the case, because what they're doing is they're protecting that person's identity. I mean, they're basically saying, hey, we're making sure that no one's buying a $100,000 vehicle in your name by making sure that you are who you say you are. And people appreciate that.
But here's what's amazing in our industry. It's the law. It's the law. It's FTC, red flag, fair credit reporting. I mean, the dealers are required to verify the identity, and then they're supposed to safeguard it. So it's like Vinetch in Connecticut for so many years. Everyone wants to kick the can or put their head in the sand. And it's like, it's got to be done right from the lead source. And you don't want to offend anybody, but you certainly want to chase a $100,000 claim and have your insurance and be in court. I mean, what's better than that? If you won't give us your driver's license, you're not buying a car from us. Because if you don't have a driver's license and you need financing, I can't get you approved if you don't have a valid driver's license. I mean, we'll take ITIN numbers with lenders, but we got to verify who you are. You can't even get a bank, a regular checking account, going to regular local Webster branch or a TD Bank North branch. If you don't have proper identification, you're not opening up a bank account anymore. So how can somebody buy a car if you can't verify who they are? So this is exactly. I mean, it's unfortunately, we used to have these years of arguing and debating and having discussions. And now it's like, please, if you haven't caught on to what's going on in the world, I have every day I have somebody wanting to be my friend and on LinkedIn, and they want to chat with me. And it's like, really? And they went from Oriental women to now professional women in business. Now they see I'm in business, so now they're searching me and I'm like, if you don't have anything to do with auto, you're fraud. I don't want to meet anybody out here. If you don't have any background, I don't need any more friends. And so it's crazy. And then Aura, I have Aura on my phone. And Aura, Bumble all over the place because I get phone calls and Aura's like verifying it, and I don't know. I want to talk to that person. So, but it's been great. And the blocks that I have and the reports at the end of the month of what was blocked. And then I have Frontier in my home with my Wi-Fi. That's the fiber optics. I get a report at the end of the month of how many blocks and how many threats tried coming into all of my Wi-Fi system. It's unbelievable. It's thousands and thousands of stuff. And then I got everybody trying to give me a credit card, and you see it's all, spam at the end of it. It's great. So, and I know, and it's unbelievable. You got to be on your toes. You got to have everything locked down. So,
Absolutely.
Okay, for you and me, what we do is you verify the identity, verify the insurance, and then you do the F&I TO. And then the F&I manager does everything. And then when they're buttoning up the deal and then the customer's being turned back over to the salesperson, they just go back into the system and finish the transfer. And now that's done. And they don't have to do anything anymore. And it's all been verified. So that's a sign office that is very seamless. But remember, verify insurance, do the menu, sell the F&I products like we say is the correct process.
Pull it right back out again. No one's done that, but not saying they won't at some point in time, but so far, so good on that. And there are a lot of things happening with Gather that you're going to see in the news here in the next couple of months, where I mentioned our API. We do have a lot of organizations that have already, they're already in the process of building our API into their systems, where you'll be seeing insurance verification done and also identity verification done in their process. And we'll be sharing that with you when we can. We just, from a proprietary standpoint, we just can't announce those yet, but they're coming, and they're coming in short order.
Michael, what they also did, what made it easy as a vendor for the dealer, is everything is based off of the dealer's unit count. So they have a grid. So we're looking at the fees are based on how many units they delivered each month. So depending on where they start, so it's as fair as you can be. There's no, the days of negotiating and things like that, they squeezed it down, and did a wonderful job to do as best they can at keeping the costs low so the dealers can utilize it. It needs to be a part, as I tease, and I say everybody needs a Gus. Gus needs to be running around doing work for everybody, picking nuts and cleaning up things. So great.
So for those of you who have no idea who Gus is, that is our mascot.
It's the little,
Gary, you're so used to it, but
well, it's the little chipmunk that I
Gus
use.
is our chipmunk.
Yeah, but my emoji, my emoji that I use to broadcast, I'm the globe, and so now, and thank goodness for emojis. I've learned my kids are like, Dad, would you stop with the emojis? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it looks good, so.
Yeah, no. So anyway, that's, if you see any of our posts or anything about Gather, you'll see Gus. You'll also see us saying the word gather a lot in our presentations. I think that's just subconscious, but we like it because we are gathering all of this information together on the identity, on the insurance. We're cross-verifying. We're doing all of these things. So we're gathering data together to present the system in, from a utilization standpoint to the industry. So that's
it's a great name. It's a great kind of branding. It's like we're all to the point where if I say, give me a Kleenex, it's a tissue. But what that actually is a brand name. So
exactly.
You're right. It's what does Gather do? It gathers up information. So you're safe.
I say, like in the old days, we used to put the stamps on it. I want some paw prints. The deal doesn't go to the back until I see a couple, or F&I. If we didn't see a sales manager's signature, we would say the deal's not ready. It's not in the system. There's no signature. Where's my ACV, where's this? And we got to go back to training. But now, if it's got a stamp of that paw print, it's good to go. Put it
Gary,
in F&I.
I got to tell you, you said paw prints, you said chipmunks. Luckily, we're not on Facebook because he might be coming after you for some kind of strange animal bash.
I've been squirreling my nuts.
Hey, Ken, the good news here with this Four Horsemen setup is, as long as Silman's on, I don't have to be accused of being the most mentally unstable guy. So sure, at number 2, like try harder.
Oh, but yeah, this is.
We're working on it. His emoji.
Couldn't have said it any better. What I'm thrilled to do is that my office manager, she's Maureen Sonoto, and she's my virtual office manager. We have all the forms. It's an easy sign up. Yeah. It's a simple links and things like that. We'll be doing some more broadcasting, but we'll have an easy pathway for anybody who wants to get set up. We'd love to chat with you, but we can certainly just take an email and get you set up and then get you into the pipeline. And Ken, if that wasn't a great demo that anyone who saw, I mean, you understand it now. So a great year. Thank you. And I got my buddies now. It's gonna be, and we're not going to be Spanky in the game.
It's going to be edited, right?
The good news is it'll be edited, Ken. The bad news is we'll be down to 4 minutes and 3 seconds.
Exactly.
Thank all of you. It's going to be a good year.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your time.